So you're not doing shows at this time? You're not getting sponsorships?
Nah, I'm doing, this is the thing, right? See, I'm doing shows, but they're keeping it to a minimum. You know what I mean? Because they like, we don't want you to burn out. We don't want you to, you know, oversaturation and, you know, things of that nature. And, you know, I was a team player for real, bro. Anything they told me, I was on it. I did it. I listened. I'm not going to listen to 100% of what everybody tell me because that's part of being human. You want to experience things on your own because experience is the best teacher and all that.
Right.
And on top of that, I'm young. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
So I didn't listen to everything, but like 90% of what they told me, I listened to it.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? So it was just a lot of things. The shows, I was doing the shows, you know, doing shows with them. It was different things. I was getting shorted. I felt like it was just crazy. I'll say like at 100%, and this is not to talk dirty. I'm just speaking realistically.
Understandable. Now here's a question. What was the condition of the people that you were working with?
When you say condition, what do you mean?
Were they up? Or did
you
see signs of, oh, everybody ain't got it like that?
When you say what up, I'm saying? Please describe. When
I say up, like were they comfortable
and financially stable?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. My thing is just this. I give them the benefit of the doubt because I look at it like this being the age that I am now. This was their first time being business owners.
Right.
So I can't like really say that they were educated in that field and they knew how to properly operate a business. You know what I'm saying? Like me, I had to buy my own car. I had to end up getting my own everything. When you own a business, you could write certain things off for your artists and do all this type of stuff.
Right.
Like for a minute, I felt a certain way that they wasn't doing those type of things. And that like kind of led me to feeling the way that I felt on top of, like I said, a collection of other things like, you know, show money and things I just told you, the 60 grand. I ended up finding out the budget was cracked, when to my knowledge it wasn't. It was just like a bunch of different stuff, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
a lot of inconsistencies.
Right, but what people don't know is they would look at it and be like, yo, it just seemed, or he sound like it was just all bad over there. Yeah, we actually had more great times than bad times, but it's like the bad times overshadowed the good times because it's like the things that I'm explaining to people that they might look at as bad, they like, I can't believe it.
Well, it didn't help that, you know, a video comes out of you dragging the D blockchain.
Right.
And like, if you want people to focus on the good times.
Right.
While the bad times is on video.
Yeah.
Right.
Because that's the first thing that they seeing.
I would be.
They're not seeing like, yo, something ain't right.
Most of us would have had no idea anything bad was happening. And then next thing I know, J Hood is beefing with the Lops. And we're talking about a 3-man group who's never had any outside. We've never heard any internal beef get out.
But let's be transparent though, right? When you say, yo, nobody never knew anything. Certain people knew certain stuff. They're like, listen, man, they had this guy over here for mad long. He ain't dropped yet. He ain't on no singing. He ain't dropping nothing. Like, what's going on with them? You know what I'm saying? Like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, okay, devil's advocate. I fucking hate that expression. On the other side of that coin, for the general public, that could be you.
What you mean?
That could be you. Now, how many artists I've dealt with who had perfectly good projects who just keep going over and over and this song and I gotta fix this and this ain't right. Shout out to the OG Kamal. Q-Tip is notorious for holding on to music and being a perfectionist.
Dr. Dre too.
Dr. Dre has an album, several. Detox may never show up. Like that album may never show up.
Son.
So what I'm saying is creatively.
Detox is like
listen, I'm gonna tell you something.
It's like the Loch Ness Monster.
Niggas call your shit Detox and music ain't coming out, bro.
It's interesting that
you talking about established people though.
That's crazy.
You talking about established people, not up and coming artists.
I'm talking about creatives, period. I've danced this dance with dudes who are not.
That's the benefit of the doubt that he's giving.
But you don't know. You don't. From the outside looking at this dude, you would swear he was on fire. He's got a buzz. He's ready to go. There's a budget. And then for me, being on the inside, working with these dudes in the studio. Say it again.
So you're questioning the product in a sense.
No,
not necessarily questioning the product.
It's not the product. It's the perception. The perception is multi-layered, right?
Okay.
There's one group of people who would look at it and go, yo, what's going on? Why he ain't dropped yet? He's doing X, Y, Z, A, B, and C. Then there's a whole other side that's gonna go, why though? Is it them or is it him? Because it could be him.
Because
might be them.
If I want
also might be him.
Mind, I'm like, the producers you just named, none of them niggas is cheap.
Right.
How was that being worked out? Were you overseeing that? Who was paying the producers?
It was different things that was worked out. Like let's just say we sat down like collectively and went over different ideas. They was asking me like, yo, who would you like to get on the album as far as production goes?
Right.
And I listed everyone that I wanted on the project, and they was like, you know what? We're gonna see what we could do, to make some of it reality. You know what I mean? Like everything that I spoke on wasn't obtainable, but a lot of the things was, and we created it. So, but I think as far as like the perfectionist view on things,
right?
Yeah, it's like that wasn't the issue. It was
the producers being paid though.
Yeah, it was a lot of favors.
Right.
To be completely
That's
honest with
different than being paid.
No, but it was never no issues with the producers though. That wasn't the issue with the music.
Well,
I'm trying to figure out where the money might have went.
Yeah, because 20 grand won't pay for that.
The budget wasn't cracked at all though. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm aware of where budgets goes and all that.
Right.
The shit wasn't cracked to my knowledge, I thought to my former manager's knowledge, and it wasn't a crazy amount. It was probably like 15 to 18,000 missing. But it wasn't paid to.
But you also never saw that 60.
Absolutely not.
Did you approach them on it?
No.
You never approached them on it?
Until later on, after the fact.
Why?
What was the response?
Why'd you let it sit?
Yeah.
Who told you that?
On top of that, it was smoke.
Look, and he brought up Dre, right? And that's interesting that you brought him up because I could just add a bunch of different reasons as to why the things that took place. Like, I was aware of the fact that multiple people were interested in signing me and collaborating for my album, right? And they let it be known. They spoke to me about the majority of them, but one situation in particular that they failed to fill me in on was Dre. And Aftermath reached out and said that they was interested in signing me and coming on board with the project. And they didn't tell me that. The only reason I found out was because when Game started hanging in New York, I chilled with him for like 3-4 days, and I went to a session with him down in Sony, and I met an A&R from Aftermath named Angelo. I think that's his name, if I'm not mistaken. And he sat down and told me, like, yo, bro, you sick. Yo, we reached out and tried to, like, work out a deal, on your project with them, and they like, in so many words, he said they turned him down. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, yo, what could have took place if we could have possibly did a collaboration with D-Block / Aftermath? It could have turned into something else.
Dre's vaults are
This shit sound
notorious.
crazy, nigga.
Like
This shit sound crazy.
Dre's vaults are kind of notorious for being one-way doors. There's a lot of music.
I bet.
There's a
Did
lot of
you ever
artists
think
who
about
never-
dropping a refrigerator on that new book?
There you go.
I'm just
I'm
saying.
not gonna lie. I was
I'm just saying.
when I learned that, I was kind of like, I felt the way. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm like,
Because you felt like these are three guys who felt like they got a raw deal.
I'm like, y'all told me when
And,
Foxy wanted to sign me. Kiss told me about that.
Right.
They told me when
On
JD
Fox
wanted to
5,
sign me.
she wanted to get you?
Yeah, Jermaine Dupri wanted to sign me.
Right.
They told me about all kind of other labels, but they didn't tell me about the Dre thing. We sat down with Pharrell and we was discussing the deal, but you didn't tell me about the Dre thing.
Right.
So I kind of felt the way about it.
Might have been. They might, in their minds, they might have been protecting you from that. Dre has a lot of artists that it was a known thing that Dre would sign people and then not release the music.
Yeah.
I was under the impression at the time. Now, let me be specific. I want to highlight the fact that I said at the time.
Right.
This was my mindset. I was looking at it from a perspective that, because, anytime you go into business with any individual, you have to know who you're dealing with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I didn't fully understand who I was dealing with. So the way I was looking at it, I'm like, listen, they're not going to put a person in a position to be equally successful as them or more successful than them because they feel like they haven't received what they feel like they deserve out of their careers as of yet. So they're not going to put me in a position where I'm able to overlap them because I myself heard Sheik say to me out of his mouth.
Even if you make them filthy rich.
That's what you would think. But I heard Sheik say out of his mouth one time, yo, I don't know about her because we ain't gonna be able to control him if he blow. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because I always was my own man. I spoke for myself. I had my own crew. And
There's an underlying fear there.
It's artists.
On their
it's
side.
artists.
like I said, I give them the benefit of the doubt because it's your first time doing something. And you had a raw deal yourself. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you don't have the knowledge how to run and operate a company, period, properly. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I had to be in a sense, the sacrificial artist to
Well, you were first.
deal with something.
Well, you went looking for it, nigga.
Yeah,
You was on that corner like
Technically,
Jay.
yeah.
Jay. You know what I mean?
However,
Yeah. Jay.
He was on that corner like.
You was on that corner. They was like, this nigga keep coming around, we gonna give him a contract.
It's Hoffa, trapper turn smack rapper. Only smack rapper that you know is smack rappers. Got bars, I can hang with the backpackers. Trap star, I don't hang with the backpackers. I'm in the hood with the work you heard. Making fiends leave earth you heard. Got your baby mama thirst you heard. Feel the flow, nigga, throw it in reverse. This the wave you need to surf you heard.